There we go.
So, Vanessa, darling, I'm going to go right at you because I want to ask some questions about art. I know that you and I have met across music for all of our lives, and I've watched you redefine your definition of art, haven't you? You've completely changed the whole system. You own your own art form.
Yeah. Well, I mean, for many, many years, behind the scenes, I did a ton of songwriting. It's such a long story, but I disappeared for a long time because I would immerse myself into different worlds of music so that it would be really authentic and it would sound realistic to that type of craft that I was doing. And none of those songs would have ever made the pop record. And then when it comes to pop music, because it was so successful in my early days, it's a scary move to venture out of that. And I always felt like no one would understand that, and I wouldn't be accepted in other genres of music because of my history of when I was a kid. But when those records did come out in the 2000s, I was already so past that musically and vocally, if that makes any sense, because those songs were written when I was 13 and 14. They were released by the time I was 18. And already in just those years, I felt like I was way past it and I had so much more I wanted to show people. But it was successful. So I ran with it. But yeah, it's taken me 20 years to get to this place now where I just want to throw out good music, no matter what genre it is. And, you know, as a vocalist, I can sing soul, I can sing country, I can sing rock. And I can do that like I've lived in those areas for a really long time because I've been working on that craft since I was a kid. But everybody only heard the one.
You know, from my heart, I think you're one of the greatest singers in the world. I believe that you are. No, and I actually spoke to your musicians today because I spoke to them and thanked them for giving us the track, obviously, which gave you what will be your performance coming up. And I truly believe you're one of the greatest singers I've ever had the pleasure to hear in real life, second to Aretha Franklin and, you know, Nina Simone and quite a vast cast of some of the greatest. But there's something about you that just takes, you are the best. But what I've noticed, and tell me if I'm right in thinking this, your environment that you're living within as a parent, as an animal lover and as a wife and also there in isolation in America, it seems to be making a huge impact on your choices as an artist.
Well, I mean, I've been talking about doing the Blacklisted collection for probably 8 months because it's something that eats away at me. When I start going through my hard drives in the studio and I start finding these songs, it eats away at me because I want to be able to see if people can accept the real artist, not just the one side that I do, whether they're going to accept the 5 different sides that I do. But now being in isolation, what it's done is it's started to generate a whole bunch of different material. So it started off with just releasing stuff from my hard drive, some of the songs are 10, 15 years, 5 years old. And now it's taken on a new thing, which is I'm incorporating the new stuff I'm writing because it is right now. It relates to right now. And I'm finding with being in lockdown like this and in isolation, I have a lot of personal demons, and music is a way for me to counsel, like it's therapy. It's like a counseling session, writing that song. So I'm really hoping that helps other people out there know that they're not the only one that's dealing with that.
It's also it's also very humanizing for your fans to see the inside of your internal mind and hear your heart. I think more than ever, don't you agree, the more authentic and the more we're prepared to take risks with our insides and allow our external world to see us. I love hearing your subjective universe, like the thoughts, the way you couch the way you put your poetry together, and even just the harmonizing within, and I don't mean on a vocal harmonize, I mean the actual musical package. I don't think people really realize what a giant of a composer you are. It's just an amazing thing. It's true.
I'm very annoying because I am all over it. I really am all over it. Everything has a place. I like a certain way of mixing. I like placement of instruments. I like stuff to counter melodies to complement the front centerpiece of the melody. I think lyrics matter. But you're right. Like with this day and age, I've noticed that the more soul-bearing you are and the more honest it is, the more that works. It's the other way of writing songs where I used to write songs thinking this is what people want to hear.
Yeah.
People see through that straight away now.
Yeah, isn't it amazing? Don't we? I think it's a failing in all of us, maybe perhaps because of the people who were advising us in our early years, but maybe, but just that we thought we underestimated the depth of soul in our audiences. And I got to be honest, I'm really all about. I really validate every single one of my fans that's travelled this whole distance with me, because it's like together we're a broadband network. You know, all the frequencies of all of our life experiences, the teenage, the growing up, the ingenue, the killing that, the coming out, the, you know, getting out there, raising your chin and knees in an effort to change your whole thing. But now it's landed, and now there's this beautiful broad stream. And I've got to say, I think this is the same with my mum. I think maybe it's true of most people when you grow up and you suddenly realise that people who are older than you now, and now that we're now the age that they were when we were thinking this, you suddenly realise that they were people too, and they're people first, and the demographics. Now that you're an artist, you can sing for every age. You know, not just for that age group in the 20s and the 30s now. You can get,
It is amazing, like, from the last 12 months of doing shows, I feel like I grew up with everybody. Oh, yeah. Are you guys still there?
Yeah, we are.
Yeah. You're just a bit frozen. Hang on. Oh, there you go.
Sorry.
No, I saw that.
It's wonderful. It's a wonderful experience. I feel like I grew up with my audience, and now they have kids and families, and I don't know, it made me really emotional. I don't know what is going on with my camera, but it just keeps going haywire.
You know what? It's
all good.
It actually, the communication's coming across, and because I know your band, and for those of our audience who are listening to this who don't know how we've almost shared the same community experience, haven't we, you and I? And I'll just say it out loud to Alannah as if she's our listening audience, because you'll find this interesting, Alannah, as well. Yeah. Vanessa moved to America 6 or 8 years ago, or longer?
Nearly 10.
10 years?
Yeah.
Just when I'd come back from LA. So I came back from LA after being away and for over 10 years and other places in America and Australia. She went to move to America and met and fell in love with her now husband, and they started their experience of living permanently in America. And I inherited her band.
Oh, wow. So, well, that makes sense, because you're all...
No, I know. So basically, after many years, we've sort of been skirting around each other's career, but I got to work with Paul Cecchinelli, her musical director from when she was much younger, and Rod Bustos and a variety of other people. And now, just in recent times, she's re-inherited them back when she went on her recent national tour.
And you've added a few people to her, like Jess and
we
stuff.
added Jessica Fairley.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
And
it's been awesome. It feels like a big family. It's like we share a family. It's wonderful.
And I know, and may I say as well that watching the two of you, I burst into, I'm such a sop. I'm like someone's auntie, you know. And I watched you on the tour when you were dancing and doing the Tina Turner piece. With Jess. Now, I know that, I mean, even Jess, she says, oh, I'm not a dancer, but you guys have got so much vitality. It's like watching, Janis Joplin, Tina Turner. It's everyone you've ever thought you would love to be in one on stage. How was that? Did you find that using your power and your might as a physical person, how's that been singing?
Well, when I stepped back on it, I think I'd gotten so conditioned to studio life where, when you're recording, you can drop in and out of that vocal. I'm sitting on my ass. So even though that I have a gym with my hubby, and I train every day, and I train harder than I ever did because I can't remember ever working out the way I do now. Yeah. Still, when I got on stage, it's a different type of fitness. It's like allowing your lungs to be full with air without the vibration of you moving and it affecting the sound. Yeah. And I remember the first couple of shows, I was completely out of breath and I couldn't work it out. I'm like, I'm fitter than I've ever been. I can like run for 3 hours and I'm not even sweating. But now I get on stage and I go to belt stuff and I go to move, and it's like a whole different level of fitness, and it's like controlled breathing. You kind of got to take air in, and you can't breathe for a really long time until those gaps come in. So you've got to be able to hold your breath, sing in tune, and dance at the same time. So that's,
and this is actually, it's funny you should say that, because I said in my, you mentioned the other day you watched my missive on art, and I was saying professionals, the reason why they're different and the reason why they are professionals, they make the hard shit look really easy. Like what you're doing up there is a combination of thousands of hours of you doing it since you were a teenager, and now you combine that with your physical health and your cardiovascular ability, but still it's fucking hard. It's still not easy, and yet you make it look like it's a walk in the park, and you're doing it every night. How are you handling not gigging at the minute? Like, where to put that energy? Where do you put your physical, Well,
I mean, I'm lucky because I've got the little boy to run after, and I've got like a mountain of goats, which is a long story in itself. And then I've got the horses, and then I've got my husband and what he's doing and trying to help that along. And then I'm trying to turn out a new song every Monday.
Yeah, which has been amazing.
Way harder than I thought.
No, it's amazing.
So I'm keeping myself super, super busy. But just going back to the stage thing, I noticed when I'm on stage, it has to be a well-rehearsed thing. If I go into a situation thinking of what we're doing, I'm failing. It has to be to a point where it's it's like I'm sticking it in autopilot.
Right.
And now it's a case of, okay, I know the songs, I know the lyrics, I know how to perform it. Now I stick it in autopilot, and I have to feed off of the energy of what that room is, versus, how people choreograph stuff and it's like, this is what it is if there's two people or just one person. I disagree with that. I think if there's one person, your show has to be completely different, because it's just one person. You can't get up there and like, how are you feeling, Melvin? And it's one person. It looks weird. So I feel like your audiences, as they change, you really want to feel the energy of that and run with it. But it does have to be something that feels like home. You can't go on it not knowing it inside out and then expecting it to work, because you can't focus on pitch, song, lyrics, audience performance, stage, where I move, who's going to come forward. That has to be automatic, so you can just communicate and connect with people.
I love that.
Makes sense.
Oh, that's a masterclass in itself. If anyone who's listening just now has had any questions at all regarding how do you do this, it's you do it and you do it and you do it and you do it and you do it again until it's better and it's better. And you're absolutely right. I fucked up last week because I was we're doing these Friday sessions, which is wonderful, and I couldn't be doing it without your manager, Steve Scanlon. I've got to be honest. He's truly a genius, because he's rigidly, defiantly saying, show up and do it the same time in every way, the same way. Like, don't fuck it up. So practice it, do whatever you need to do, but get it right. And Alannah and I, so she's been running along and she's learning a lot. She calls him Miyagi, Mr. Miyagi.
Yeah, Mr. Miyagi.
From the Karate Kid.
Yeah.
Rub it on.
Oh, okay,
The discipline and practice and get it perfect. And I did this thing last week, which I'm not going to do. A professional never fails to make the same. They don't make the same mistake twice. And that's what I didn't drill a song last week well enough. And when we were in the middle of doing it, I came out in a hot sweat of just this prickly knowledge that why am I focused on these problems when I'm delivering my art form to however many thousands of people? It's like it's not okay to do that. The time to do that is before you get to the stage, like you said. It's about applying.
For me, team is like critical. It's absolute critical. If I don't have a backbone that's solid, that's got this shit together and it's covered, then now you've thrown a wrench in what I'm doing, because you've already got, like, as a performer, you've already got enough things that you're focusing in on and you want to nail, and it's important for the people around you to try and to hold the beams together, if that makes much sense. And that's what I love about Scanners, is that his attention to detail, and I find real safety in that, because sometimes when I'm loose, I like somebody screwing those bolts for me, because I kick my own ass. Like when I come off and I'm like, oh, what the hell? Or if I did an interview wrong, or if I said something whack, or I came across rude, I want somebody that's there making sure I don't make that mistake again, and that tightens the bolts. That also, you know, is a true believer in what I do and understands who I am. So
well, you couldn't get a more diligent and loyal fan, and someone who's been really in many ways studying you for over 2 decades now. Like, he studied everything you do. He studied your psychology. It's like, you know, I don't know about you, and I never want to refer to myself as an animal, but if I was one, I'd like to be known as a horse, and that I'd like whomever is either riding or training me to understand that I'm no, but let's put it frankly, when we're in the field of the arts, there are people you invite to come in and be the kind of wranglers, the trainers, the managers, you know, and in a sense they do put a saddle and a bit on you. The thing I always love, at the end of the day, I am a free animal. I'm free, I'm spirited, and I'm unpredictable. And we all love that about our animals. We never want to get any of that trained out of them, but we want to be able to work with them. And I feel like that sometimes I'm like a wild animal that, you know, every day someone walks into the arena with me, it's a test of like, who showed up today?
Oh, I can attest to that.
Trying to put a bit in the saddle on me is like, good luck with that. So lucky you and lucky us that we've got this fine group of individuals around us who've studied us well and who let us be the wild horses, free and unpredictable, but beautiful. And look, and I'll wrap it up because I just love what you've shared with us today, because I think that is in itself, you've given us a masterclass in not only music touring, but also maturing. You're matured into a full-grown human with so much, and you've only really just begun. So here's to the rest of your.
I still feel very immature, but yeah, I think you know, one other person that's been incredible to me is Melissa O'Connor. Oh my God, I couldn't live without that girl, because she's another one of those people that
she is.
She was like, I know you, but I want people to know you more. Like, people need to know that you do different styles of music, and they need to see more personality. So she's been incredible for that, because she gives me confidence, because she's like, you're funny, like, do something funny, stop being so weird. So, you know, it's nice that I'm getting to that place now where I feel a lot more confident to share more personal things and to write music that's more soul-bearing.
Yes, again, well, I think we're pretty blessed. I mean, Alannah and I were discussing, we have very shared and mutual interests in music. We're a bit like Jack Black, and kind of, we're like psycho fans about certain types of music and eras. And like Melissa, because I know Melissa really, really well, her sole focus in life is to pull you out and to get you to create personal content which people don't otherwise see. And Alannah's been doing that with me, and it's a great journey. We're very blessed. I feel very blessed to have you, Alannah.
And I feel blessed. I'm like, what is this morning?
It's a great story. I don't want to get to the end of our story. I want it to just start all over anew.
Yeah, well, we're going to take over the world once this is over.
I know. Well, I'm looking forward to those Monday sessions becoming your next album. If I'm sure that's what it'll be released as, right, Ness? Is that sort of what you're?
Yeah. So it's called the Blacklisted Collection, and every Monday we're dropping a song. So we've already dropped 3 songs. We're on the 3rd song now. Next week we go again on Monday, and you know, it's been incredible. It's nerve-wracking.
I know. I promise that for every album, every single you drop every Monday, I'll drop a new flamenco class in the backyard. How about that, Alannah? Can we do that?
Sounds good.
I love it.
It's my pleasure.
Tell you, I have so loved watching all your stories with your step-up video. There was one where you're doing like yoga in a room. The flamenco one. I'm like, what the hell?
She's fucking nuts.
You do it so goddamn well. And then on top of that, the streaming thing, like you just keep evolving and coming up with these really cool concepts. And for me, you're an inspiration to so many artists, including myself. And just to look at all of your histories of records, I mean, you've released so many albums. I feel like I haven't done enough as an entertainer.
I know, come on, top.
I know. That's why it's a single every Monday.
Okay, good. You'll catch up in no time. Oh, thank you, darling. I love you.
Just quickly, we've got 2 questions from the group.
Yes.
So the first question for both of you is, for such a natural stage performer, how does not having live audience interaction affect your approach to performing? What tools do you use to adapt?
I think I'm still working on that.
I was just about to say the same thing. I'm right there with you. I have no idea. You can't feel what's going on behind that camera.
Yeah.
No, I know. I think, and also in this time as well, we've got nothing to compare it to. So we're just going to have to be making it up as we go along, actually. I think that's probably the simple answer to that question. And that also, interestingly enough, I think that the times themselves are going to bring stuff out of us that we hadn't. Oops, just like that. like teaching this old dog how to work bloody cameras.
Oh, you're doing very well.
I do think that we're gonna discover things about ourselves that we don't even know about ourselves yet, if that makes any sense.
Okay, one more question. What are the top 5 behaviours or gestures do you think represent true love?
Oh,
God, this is getting hard.
I know. We've got some very deep plans.
I know. I was sending nothing your way, and then this.
Okay. I think one that represents true love is knowing that if you have a big Barney, they'll forgive you.
5 seconds on that one.
And that applies to our children, our husbands, and our animals. What's yours, Vanessa? I think I can go and come up with one.
Oh, I don't know. I think it would be the same thing, forgiveness.
Yeah.
Yes.
Understand, like, the real meaning behind whatever it is that's going on, and forgiveness and moving forward.
That's actually
No, that's too deep for me.
Yeah, so no gestures. We've got.
I think the last thing. I don't know about a gesture. Maybe I reckon my last thing on that though, because you're right, because forgiveness is everything. But I reckon true love is when someone always knows what your intention was.
Mm.
Even if the shit that comes out of your mouth sometimes sounds a bit raw, they know you didn't intend to cause any harm.
Yeah.
That was a good one.
Anyway, I think that's very deep, but I'm very grateful for the question.
Yeah.
We're all good with that.
Yeah, so that was from Wayne Crichton, and the first one was Dane Hodges.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Well, hello, you guys.
Thank you, boys.
Yes.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah.
All right.
Good to have lads. All right, Vanessa, love you, darling.
Thanks
love
so
you,
much,
Alannah.
guys.
Yeah, lots of love to you, and see you soon.
I'll see you Friday
Kate.
when we smash the tits off that song.